Salve discipuli. All right, we are talking about the Olympians now, the Greek gods. Let's get started. So this guy, this is Zeus, the king of the gods. We talked about Zeus in our previous unit. He has defeated the Titans. He has become ruler of the universe. His Roman name is Jupiter. So how can you tell that you're looking at Zeus? Well, first, he's going to have a beard. He's almost always going to have a beard. Longish hair, not super long hair, but not cut short either. And generally he's going to be very muscular. These are all symbols of his power. He is the ruler of the universe. He is the king of the gods and people. And generally he has something in his hand. Maybe it's a staff. Maybe it's a scroll. Maybe it's a lightning bolt. Here it looks like it's a part of a staff that maybe got broken off. This is an ancient sculpture. So if you think about 2,000-year-old sculpture, 2,400-year-old sculpture, oftentimes over the several hundred years, parts break off. This is actually his lightning bolt. We're going to look at a lot of slides of Zeus, so if you can't see this one all too well, don't worry about it. And you'll notice that he's seated. He is on a throne. And here is his bird, the eagle. You might see that this is a three-headed dog. That's Cerberus. Why is Cerberus there? Because sometimes artists just include something that's random. Okay. You remember this story. This is Rhea, Zeus's mother is Rhea, presenting something wrapped to this man. This is Kronos or Saturn, who is Zeus's father. This might be one of the babies that Kronos is about to eat, or this might be the rock because she's hiding Zeus. Zeus, son of Rhea and Kronos. Okay, here is Zeus on a cameo. You'll notice again the beard. The hair, here he's got a wreath of leaves. That's generally a symbol of like victory or power or prestige or triumph. Okay, here's a painting from I believe these are from the 1800s. There's a place in Denmark that has all of the gods up on a ceiling. It's called Frederiksborg. You might see this. This is a medieval astrological sign of Jupiter or the planet Jupiter. You might notice the eagle. The eagle is going to be one of the most prominent clues to tell you, oh, we're looking at Zeus here. Think about why the eagle is his bird. It's majestic, it's powerful, it's sleek, it's attractive, it's a symbol of like freedom. Think about like how many countries like America have the eagle as a symbol. Again, the beard and the hair are really going to give Zeus away. It gives him the impression of being old but not feeble, not weak. Old, wise, knowledgeable, and powerful. Generally, you're going to see him being depicted as very muscular. You might notice this in his hand that looks kind of strange. That's a lightning bolt. Remember that before there was photography, you only had a split second to catch a lightning bolt. You couldn't look at pictures of it. Like we've all looked at pictures of it where we can see like the jagged edges and the electricity. But to the ancients, they depicted it in very different ways because you could only ever catch it for a split second. Here's a very archaic sculpture. So remember when we talk about ancient Greece and ancient Rome, we're actually talking about many centuries of history. And as Greek culture developed, so did their art. So when I say something's archaic, I'm talking 700s BC, 600s BC, before the classical age of Greece, which most people consider to be the 5th, 4th centuries BC. Notice the beard. Again, the hair. This is like our prototypical image of Zeus. All right. Here's a ceiling painting from Copenhagen. You'll notice, again, the face with the beard, the power that it's just suggesting. And here we have what we would kind of consider to be a lightning bolt. This painting is not that old, only a couple hundred years old. You might also notice that eagle. All right, here's another ancient sculpture. It says it's a Roman copy from the 4th century BC. The beard and the hair, again, make it really look like Zeus. Again, this is pretty much what Zeus is always going to look like. Here's another one. You'll notice that this sculptor and this is from the, it doesn't give the time period. You'll notice that this sculpture has included a lot more detail in the hair and the beard. That means this is probably classical period, or just right after the classical period, which is called the Hellenistic period. You'll notice that there's nothing in his hand. Whatever was, this is a bronze statue, so not all ancient statues were made of rock. You might think of them as being made of marble. Many were made of marble. But bronze is actually very malleable, and ancients could sculpt in it. And you can tell that it's metallic. Generally, if you see a metallic looking sculpture, it's going to be bronze, because it's, gold and silver are really expensive. Anything that was made of gold and silver probably got melted down to be turned into money at some point in the last 2,000, 2,400 years. And the way that bronze kind of changes color over time is also very, very, very noticeable. Notice the beard again, the hair. Here it definitely looks like he's about to throw something. So you might be thinking, oh, this is definitely Zeus, because that would have been a lightning bolt in his hand. We don't actually know if this is Zeus. It might also be Poseidon, because it could have been a trident left in his hand. Oftentimes we find things, and this was actually found at the bottom of the ocean in a shipwreck. Like the statue is being transported on a boat, and it wrecked. So without having what's in its hand, we don't know which one it is. Poseidon and Zeus, as we'll find out, look very similar. You might think this one looks a little simple, a little basic, right? That puts this in the Archaic period. Again, maybe 700s, 600s, 500s BC, as Greek civilization was still developing. You'll notice that the lightning bolt here looks very strange, like almost like it's a small animal or something like that. It's the little protruding edges that kind of tell you it's a lightning bolt, plus the pose. Again, notice the beard. Even though this is a very simple sculpture, you can tell it's a man, you can tell he's strong, and you can tell he's Zeus. I mean, it's pretty much the same pose as that one. This is a very typical pose, about to throw a lightning bolt. But even with this simple sculpture, you can tell what it is. You might not appreciate it for its beauty as well as something like this, but you can tell that that's Zeus. Here's another Zeus head. Here's another one. We have literally thousands of these. And you notice each one's a little bit different. You notice the level of detail in the hair and the face. And if you're wondering about the blank eyes, one thing to know about these ancient statues is they were painted. We all see them now plain, whether they're made of marble or some other sort of stone, but don't think that's how they appeared. All of them were always painted in the ancient world, but the paint just doesn't last. Paint wears off after a certain number of years, and paint really never survives 2,000 years unless it's buried under sand or ash, like in Pompeii. So the eyeballs would have been painted on to appear like eyeballs, but you notice that there actually are balls in there, like made of ivory. Sometimes you'll see them where the sockets are empty, which you could presume maybe some sort of like marble or some other sort of object was put inside the eye sockets. Here we go, another Zeus. This says Jove in Italian, which is Jove, which is how they say Jupiter in Italian today. Zeus, Greek name. Jupiter or Jove is the Roman name. Notice again the detail of the beard and the hair. He is the powerful king of the gods. He is the ruler of the universe, and his appearance makes it look that way. If you notice that things are damaged, like a nose or a side of the head, ears, arms, that's because they are damaged. At any point in the transportation process, a statue might get dropped and parts break off of it, or it got hit by an earthquake, or perhaps it was attacked in some war. A lot of our ancient art doesn't survive intact, but we have preserved some of it. Just know that 2,000 years is 20 centuries. That's a lot of time. This is a replica of what we think a really famous statue of Zeus might have looked like based on ancient descriptions. That is, ancients oftentimes wrote about what they saw in temples, and that gives us a lot of information about stuff that is now lost or destroyed. So this is what The statue of Zeus at his famous temple in Olympia, where the Olympic Games were held, probably looked like, based on our ancient written accounts. That is, that there was a gold eagle there, a gold staff, gold draped clothing, a small statue of Victory or Nike. The real one is lost, but based on ancient art and ancient literary analysis, modern artists have been able to make a replica of it. Not in real gold, of course. Here is a more archaic sculpture of Zeus. How can you tell it's Zeus? The eagle, the seated position, and the beard and the hair. This is the one we saw the other day when we did our artwork analysis. Here's another one of Zeus. More Zeus. Again, ooh, good example here of, it looks like some fingers have been broken off. And sometimes you can even see, if you see these strange lines right here, it means that different broken pieces have actually been stuck back together or glued back together. Notice he's again in the pose where it looks like he's throwing his lightning bolt.